All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me just a second. I'm getting the last minute setups here. I wanted to make sure I was all fucking showered and everything looked great because, you know, we want to be clean around here. We want to represent the clean, beautiful side of the FGC that doesn't smell like they really, really need something stronger than fucking Axe body spray. Okay. That looks good. This looks good.
This stuff will make you a
all of the widgets and everything else looking beautiful. All right, and then we got my camera here. I'm going to make a quick little adjustment. And then we should be beautiful. We should be ready to just immediately jump into this. I'm going to have to set up Jonnitti's camera, which is going to be interesting. Trying to get that set up. Boom, boom.
16 months? I've been here so long, do I have my own room yet?
My god, One Hand, you always have your own room, baby. You've been had your own room. You showed up with your own room, actually. Bam, bam, pow. Chicks be rocking my style. Alright. Alright. We got a new screen up and everything. Kablamzo. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday. I got my water stream setups looking crispy. Everything's looking good. I'm freshly showered. All right. All right. Give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and clear this image of John in a second as soon as I get his camera set up. I was trying to figure out how to get OBS Ninja to work, and for some reason OBS Ninja just won't work. So what we're going to do instead is I'm probably just going to have him make a video from the call that he has in the Discord and then just blow it up onto the monitor here, because either way, as long as I make it large enough for you to be able to see him. Voice call, video call. All right, John, I am video calling you now.
Yo.
Yo, what's cracking, baby? Oh my god. Oh, you look beautiful.
Chilling.
Here, let me get rid of this other image I have on screen, actually.
Yeah, was that the first picture that came up when you Googled me?
The first one was the hot dog one.
Oh, this is the second one?
Yes.
Nice.
And then the third one was the your actual, I think your Twitter picture that you have right now.
Yeah, no, because the one that one, like, I don't know, like, I have such a weird relationship with it because it's like from one of the coolest moments I've had from like anything related to gaming. But like my hair is at like awkward length. Like if it was like white hair, I'd look like one of those like founding fathers ass motherfuckers.
Beautiful.
Like first, second president. Like if I was like white hair, and like
you can be considered a founding father of Soul Calibur FGC. No.
I'm not that old.
Okay. Yeah, you're not Ramon.
No. Like, I remember there was there was a match at a final round 2 years ago. The last final round that there was, it was me versus Thuggish Pond, and Big Boy was watching. He was like, "Damn, like, it's Jonnitti versus Thuggish Pond. Thuggish Pond was fighting against France for America when you were like 12 years old," and I was like, "Yeah."
Jesus. What was I doing at 12 years old? Mashing on Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah, I was fucking playing some Soul Calibur 2.
Trying my best to convince myself Link was a character I should put time into.
Yeah, I got lucky. I made a beeline for the cheap shit, bro. Like, I was already playing X, and I was like 12, and I was just like, yo.
You knew right away?
Yeah, my brother played Nightmare, so it was like we were like right away.
Oh, you just played top 1 and 2 immediately? Yeah.
Immediately playing the 2 cheapest characters in the game and had like, no idea. And we were like using the cheap moves. We just like we're only doing one type of throw.
Jesus.
and we didn't know like what step guarding was, and we obviously didn't know what combos were. But, like, we were using the good moves. So I was like, damn, like.
Yeah, you're like, well, this bitch is hella fast, and he's like, well, this fool's got a fucking huge sword, and you're like, all right, we in there.
Yeah, like when I like revisited Soul Calibur 2, like when the HD version came out, I was like, I was not playing that game that much differently than like how you're supposed to.
I mean, what were you supposed to when you're fucking 12? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but like I was using the right moves. Like a lot of the people when you throw them on these games, like they're trying all this like crazy shit, and then I like understood the concept. Like, well, like me and my brother, we understood like, yeah, we only need to use like 5 like really good moves, and like we're good. You know?
Yeah. Oh man. Well, how's your fucking Tuesday going so far, big dog?
It's going alright. We're big chilling today.
Yeah.
It's a
You do-
Tuesday.
Yep. There's no, with the exception of like Heaven's Battle, there's no big Calibur events or anything that take place on Tuesdays, are there?
No, and like
No.
Heaven's Battle is like I commentated Heaven's Battle, and it started at like 5 or 6 a.m. I think.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because they're actually like Asia proper.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
Philippines
no,
and
it's-
China and fucking.
Yeah, the schedule they use Japan time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I believe the streamer is Fart Noodle. He's Singapore,
Mm-hmm.
and Mai's in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
She has some hands in it, and then there's. Hold on, I actually have the Discord right here. I can give all these motherfuckers shout outs if I'm not lazy,
Hey, shout them all out, baby.
because these guys are doing the good works.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women, actually.
I'm not even super aware of any other Calibur events run on that side of the planet other than
Yeah,
just
no,
Heaven's
yeah.
Battle.
But yeah, honestly, like outside of NA, like due to time zones and like having a full-time ass job and not being able to like look through every single piece of Calibur media or like fighting game media like I used to, it's like
Mhm.
the time I have, I'm probably fucking playing.
Yeah,
But so
same.
which, which I really regret, but like.
I mean, as long as you catch the occasional oh shit, PlayStation's got us, or like
Alright, so-
fucking whatever they got going on.
Yeah, no, so we got Farp Noodle and My are the 2 admins on here, and then we got like I
Mhm.
was commentating with Sheno, and like they usually get a commentator from the NA
Mhm.
scene to
How-
go on there.
How often do you usually do commentary for like other region tournaments and stuff?
That was the only time I've ever done it.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, they were like, hey, we're looking for commentators, and I'm like, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I want to watch some international Calibur.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Is it what do you notice differently between the way like America plays Calibur versus the way that like Asia plays Calibur? Because you're watching dudes that are playing from like Korea, Japan, the
Mhm.
Philippines,
A
stuff like
lot
that.
more reserved. A lot more reserved for one. Like we're fucking shitheads in the U.S. Like we do not give a fuck. Like we're gonna press some shit. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. End of the day, and like that's a very effective game plan in many circumstances.
And my
it's-
Oki is wake up sidestepping. Fuck it.
Yeah. And it's like it's very high reward. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're right, you're gonna fucking murder them. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's not a bad game plan. It's just kind of reckless.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, we in America live off of that. Like, if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down in a blaze of glory. Like, you're either gonna
Yeah.
perfect me or I'm gonna perfect you. Small Calibur is so
Mm.
not a huge deal out here, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
compared to how it is out there.
And I mean, I guess like if I was gonna say anything, it's like the West region in NA is 100% like that for the most part. Like the vast majority of players play like that there. And then the East region, you see a little bit more of that kind of
Mhm.
style in there. But like in fighting games in general, East Coast US has traditionally been the very like reserved defensive, play lame style. Like I don't know how much you're into following like the boomer games and.
Mhm.
Cause like when I got into the FGC, I was like 16.
Okay.
And I got into it via Capcom games like Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
And
Marvel 3 and fucking
yeah,
whatever else was
and
coming out at the time.
that's when I started getting involved. But like before that, I discovered this YouTube channel
Mhm.
called Arcade Hustler, and it was this guy that would go to Chinatown Fair and interview arcade players. And like some of these people eventually became people we all know and love. Like Like there was Li Joe, Justin Wong, Sanford Kelly. Some of them are people that were just around there during that time period. But I discovered videos like, of course, the Daigo parry was like one of the first ones I found.
Yeah.
The Justin Wong Cyclops thing against the Ipes at that one Evo. Like those are the big ones. But I started playing on DGPO, which is now known as Fightcade. And that was actually the original rollback netcode for fighting games. It was originally made for emulators. So this shit is old as fuck. I was like, I was in like middle school.
I'll say it's old as fuck. I remember it well. You're gonna make me feel old as fuck.
Bro, it was like 2007. Like,
oh fuck.
It's a joke that it's not standard in fighting games now. But the point that I was getting is like, this shit is like basically a solved issue. But it makes it just a little bit more frustrating, because was like, it makes you realize how long the fight for rollback netcode has really been going on for. Because I remember,
I think that's one of the funniest things, is that this issue has been solved for like over a decade easy. Like if I wanted to hop on Soul Calibur 2 with rollback right now, I can do it right now with like Dolphin, and it functions fucking well.
Yeah, like Dolphin it's alright, like, but it's better than a lot of games with regular ass netcode.
Yeah.
Like that's the sad part, but I mean, end of the day though, like, at least the fact that one game came out with some pretty good netcode. Mind you that like a lot of the other parts, they didn't quite hit the mark, like the matchmaking for Gear, but the actual how the connection goes, like, that shit was good.
I remember playing on launch Soul Calibur 4 Xbox 360 online, and holy shit, John, it was bad.
Yeah, I didn't play Soul Calibur 4, but
no,
I played Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection on PS3.
Okay.
That shit.
Yeah.
That was so bad, bro. Like, imagine,
it's gravy,
like,
bro. You are swimming in a stream of gravy, trying to press your buttons.
Imagine fighting against Eddie with that. Like, no, that ain't happening.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It was it was a trip back in the days, because you either booted up because it was like, what, 2006-7 was like the beginning of, all right, we're gonna start throwing this shit onto online for real.
Yeah, because like it was in a couple of games, like the Xbox version of CVS2 had it, and the Xbox version of that Street Fighter Anniversary Collection that had, like, I think it was Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, that you had like the edition select in for Street Fighter 2, kind of, where you could pick like the ST version, the Championship Edition version, and it had Third Strike on it. The Xbox version of that game also had online, and then like the shitty Mortal Kombat games had online too. Which there was there's people in the MK community that come from that time period, and I'm just like, how the fuck did you guys play these games?
The best is when you're like, oh man, what was your first competitive like fighting game experience? And they're like, oh, I played Mortal Kombat versus DCU tournaments, and you're like, phew, fucking damn. Yeah, it was a Green Lantern main, and you're like, oh god, that's some ancient contrivance right there.
Yeah, no, like, it's interesting because like some of the people in the NRS scene come from those like really, really small communities. Like, one of the top players in there, Tweety, a friend of mine, he came from the fucking UFC scene, like the Undisputed shit.
Oh god.
Yeah, and he was like literally God in that game because he was the only person that was abusing glitches.
Jesus. Yeah, I got my competitive start at SmackDown versus Raw 2007, and you're like, what? It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and like I think some of them even came from like the like FPS scene and like the Madden scene. So I know at least one of the older guys in that scene came from the Madden scene, which is like random as fuck.
I was gonna say. Someone in the chat goes, NRS players are like Smash players. They usually only play that game of the series. Talking about like Talking about like NRS players usually stick to like NRS games.
I think he means like they only play one NRS game. It's like MK9 or die or like something
Oh,
like that.
okay. I'm an
Like,
MK9 Quan Chi main only. Get this
Yeah, no.
MKX and MK11 the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, there's like straight up people like that. Like I know somebody that I know that's like exactly like that, and he actually does main Quan Chi.
Well, shit, because that's the most fun version of Quan Chi that's ever existed was MK9, because he was mad cheap. I made Quan Chi and MK9 also. He was fucking super cheap.
He had those like unblockable setups and shit.
Mm-hmm. Full screen super. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like. And I don't know. I'm like the Injustice or whatever kind of guy. Like I really like the Injustice games, and
yeah,
that's what I played between Soul Calibur 5 and 6.
Injustice 1 and 2.
Injustice 1 and 2. Tried MKX, wasn't feeling it. Tried Street Fighter 5, gave it a genuine shot, wasn't feeling it. I really liked Street Fighter 4, but like I don't think I really fully understood how fighting games worked until it was like way later into the fucking
We're just chatting hours.
cycle of Street Fighter 4. Like it was by the time Ultra came out where I really understood how fighting games work, because I came in during vanilla Street Fighter 4 and I had like no direction whatsoever, and I didn't really understand what people were talking about in forums and shit. It wasn't until like Soul Calibur 5 came out where I met some people in the scene like in person that were able to kind of help break things down for me. And you know, show me how things go, because I would just go to tournaments, I would hang out and whatever. And it took me 2 years to win my first tournament match, like straight up.
What was your first tournament match that you won?
It was
after that
at
2 years.
It was at ECT2. I was like, it wasn't 2 years. It was like almost 2 years. It was ECT2. It was a losers match. I think the guy was playing Blanca and Ken, I think. One or the other or both. I don't remember. But I was playing Cody, and it was about a week after Super Street Fighter 4 came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was Brazilian for sure. He had a Blanca main with a Ken sub.
this guy was like the opposite of Brazilian, dude.
Jesus.
He was like a white guy wearing denim.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like the denim jacket, the jeans, the jeans shirt.
It was like a jeans and like a white shirt, and it wasn't like the denim jacket. It was like, you know, that denim kind of like button down dress shirt.
Oh man, I have one of those.
Yeah, and it was like the light blue denim. It wasn't like, it was consistent light blue denim.
Nice.
This
dude is just cosplaying as a whole ass pair of jeans himself.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, you can rock the whole ass denim thing, but like you gotta like add a little bit of flair to it. You can't just do one color where it's like a jumpsuit almost.
Put some patches or something on it. Yeah, you got a romper, like a jean romper. You're just rocking.
It's like one of those old like Slipknot jumpsuits, but it's just denim.
Jesus, that's the good shit. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I got a good one for you, John. Out of all the people that you've actually, let me start with this one. Out of all of the people that you've met in the FGC, who do you think is someone who has like stayed consistently like the same person the entire time you've known them? Like, you know how some people like they enter the FGC and they become jaded, or you get some people who enter and they just become like they blow up and they just become like super big time.
Well, I think for me it's kind of difficult to pinpoint because you know, in general, a lot of the people that I met at the FGC when I first met them, they were kids, and like now they're like grown ass adults. So obviously they're gonna be a little bit different and have a little bit of a different worldview and be more jaded in general because
life just do that to you.
Yeah, because you're just not a kid anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So like some of these motherfuckers I literally met when they were like 16 years old.
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, spark of joy in the heart and everything.
And I mean, when I first came in, I was 16, you know, and like we have 16-year-olds that are probably in the chat right now, and there are people that, you know, we met throughout this game that were like, you know, fucking kids. It's like, and you know, even if they're, you know, legally adults, like what, like fucking 18, 19.
Yeah,
you know?
right. How
Well,
does that
like you can't buy a drink, you know? So
how,
like
how does that feel to be like a member of the FGC that's been around so long that you're seeing kids that were 15, 16, 17 alongside with you being whole ass adults, and now you look at the new generation of 15, 16, 17-year-olds entering like,
dude,
hey, I
it's a trip.
started SC at SC6 or something like that, and you're like, whoo, like, you know what I mean?
It's a trip because like it reminds you of like exactly the kind of thing that you experienced, but like there is so much more to the FGC now than there was back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like content creation wasn't really a thing. It was just like, you know, people that post on forums that like want to make videos so their information's a little bit easier to understand. There was like no editing whatsoever. Like
Yeah.
it was that like, captured by Bandicam, like it's a fucking Dragon Ball Z AMV or some shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, the shittiest quality possible, and like
That sick ass
it,
180p Dragon Ball Budokai 1 tournament that you found.
it would have like a fucking like it'd have like let the bodies hit the floor, some bullshit playing in the
Right.
background with like
Some Linkin
Windows Movie
Park.
Maker shit going on in the background for text,
Hell
explaining
yeah.
what's going on, you know?
Hell
like,
yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
Like that's what it was. Like people weren't really streaming. Like I don't think people really took streaming seriously outside of a handful of people in the FGC until like I want to say until like around 2016 or so, and really during the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know.
But it's you're definitely around like the FGC enough to know that like there's a little bit of I don't want to call it like a stigma, but there's like there's a little bit of like a divide between like I'm a serious competitor that takes the game seriously and plays for tournaments, and then like I'm a content creator. I throw it up for YouTube and take my Twitch clips or do whatever. There's like this like I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and like I think that there's progress made just in the fact that content creators are considered part of the FGC now. And like people that watch, like back then, like the only way you were really able to directly contribute in a meaningful way to tournaments was showing up.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have things like Matcherino, like people didn't give a fuck about Twitch and YouTube. Like we didn't see those as ways to like bring people in the game in meaningful ways. Like, and then well, you know, I'm looking back and you know, how did I get into this and find out that there was even an FGC to begin with? It's fucking YouTube, you know? So, I mean, but I guess like somebody that stayed consistent, I mean, it's hard to say. I'm really trying to think. Because I think everybody that went through this, that goes through the sort of different cycles of the FGC, I guess you can call it. Like, I guess you can say there's 3 or 4 major cycles that have happened by the time I've been around. It's like kind of like the Street Fighter 4 360 era, and then kind of like that MKX Street Fighter 5 era with the boom of esports, and then like the pandemic era. And when you go through all of those, like your attitude towards everything kind of changes because you see similar problems being brought up in a different light, and it's a matter of how you process it. And I mean, but one thing that I will say for sure is it's definitely been a trip meeting Sonic Fox when he was like 13 and seeing how he is right now. Like,
shit.
I actually met him through Soul Calibur 5. He was playing viola, and it was at ECT, one of the ECTs. Because when I first started going to tournaments, I would only go to things that were close to me. So it would be like ECT and Jersey locals. But I think it was I had just graduated high school. I think no, that was after my freshman year of college. Yeah, no, the one where I graduated high school, I was playing like Street Fighter 4, and like I imported Arcana Heart 3 and entered the tournament for that.
Oh man.
Just cause I was interested to see like what like random people were playing, and it's actually funny because that was the game that like got me to meet up with people like locally in my scene, because those were guys that were just like fiending to play anyone. And like they did not give a fuck that I sucked cock at those games, you know.
They're like, we'll bring you in, bro. We'll teach you. Come here. We just need more players. Fuck it.
I didn't really learn a lot from those people, but like I definitely had a lot of good times with them.
Mm-hmm.
And like you know, because not everybody's the best teacher, but like man, those guys are fun to hang around. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because like there was one of them I met during high school, and he and like when I went to college, like and like we would just be dudes just chilling for the sake of chilling and bullshitting and playing games. It was never about like how good we were or nothing.
Yeah. Play for the fun of it.
Yeah, but he also started playing because he was big into the anime games, like Melty Blood, Blaze Blue, or whatever. But where I went to college at Rutgers in Jersey, there was a huge anime fighter scene there, and like we all played like Melty Blood and bullshit, and like Guilty Gear Accent Core, like before Plus R came out. And
Akatsuki Blitzkampf and all that shit.
Yeah, that was one. We had this one thing that we used to have. No, this is actually really funny that you bring that up because we had this tournament that we would run twice a year, and we had a Blitzkampf tournament, and we called it FritzKampf, and it was exclusively Fritz mirrors.
Jesus.
It was fucking great. But yeah, no, like
that's the game that has the big tank with like a skull face on it, right?
And it has that like, sort of World War II aesthetic to it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that game's wild, but we would run tournaments there, and I was the only person that was a Soul Calibur player, so like I would always play the other games with them, but like the shit that I cared about was like Soul Calibur and Injustice. And like by the time Injustice came out, there were people that I found on campus that played those games, that played Injustice, and we had like a local at 8 on the break, which was ran by 8-Way Run. So like, it was connected to Calibur.
Yeah.
In a way. But like I don't know, we don't really talk much about 8-Way Run anymore these days. Like
yeah,
it's kind of just there now.
Yeah, 8-Way Fun, great guy. 8-Way Run,
yeah, and like that guy, like oh no, it's frustrating because he was like very important to the beginning of my FGC life, but like I can't with some of that shit, bro. Like
how many of the early FGC peeps that you started with are like still around, like that you're in good talks with, that you're like still big pals and shit?
I mean, the thing about me is like I never really got super close to people. Like there's a handful of people I've really gotten super close with, and you know the ones that I have, you know, I'm still really good friends with.
Okay.
You know, like the two in particular that I've always been really good friends with are Bibulus, and this might come across as random as fuck, but Guilty, the Street Fighter player. Yeah, no, we were always really cool, and like even though she's like not around anymore and she's like fucking banned from everything, I still keep in. I mean, I still keep in touch. We still keep in touch with each other, you know.
Yeah. I think I met Bibulus once, like 2 years and some change ago. He was at a tournament out in like SoCal.
Bibulus is awesome. Like he was the person that got me to travel, and he was the person that basically described how the fuck I'm supposed to be approaching games.
Okay.
These are the things like not necessarily a style, but like this is how these things work. Like, you know,
like how to learn, or like how to take the game seriously, or like
learn. Like, cause like I was at that point where I thought that getting better at fighting games was sitting in practice mode and doing combos. And like anybody that knows what they're doing knows that is not how you learn. Yeah. Like I'm living proof that that doesn't work, because that's what I used to do. Just like he's like, I didn't understand any other concepts other than how to do combos.
I feel like that's actually, if I could interject as someone who is like coming from, I guess you could call it the content creator side, I feel like that's one of the big things that a lot of people that are like traditional FGC, like competitive heads, have an issue with, is they're just like, there's like this divide between I want to play the fighting game to get good and take it seriously versus I want to play the fighting game to do sick shit.
Yeah.
And then you end up with the people who are like, like I can speak from experience as someone who tried playing other games like Tekken 7 and Dragon Ball Fighters and MVC 3 and other games like these, where it's just like those games have just actual fucking touch of death. I hit you once and I'm just gonna optimize the shit out of this and 105% your health bar and shit, and it looks so tight, and then you actually like do a sidestep and I can't stop you. It's like I have this one Julia launcher, and if I land this launcher and get my wall break, you're just fucking dead. And then if you just do like low jab in my face and then do a grab, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know how to break grabs or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because I mean, I think it's cool that the FGC includes those people now, because there's certainly to those people. Like, I got eased into that shit through that, you know? Well, like, before I was competitive in Soul Calibur, like, I played Counter-Strike Source, but I was also, and, like, I played in, like, the Cal League. I was in the IM division, which is, like, intermediate. But, yeah, and what happened was they changed the rules because Counter-Strike was on TV. They changed the terrorists to wear, like, basketball jerseys. And they changed how the economy system worked. Like, have you ever played Counter-Strike?
No. I've played Valorant once.
Okay. I don't know how Valorant works, but...
It's Counter-Strike with Overwatch powers.
I don't know how the economy system in that game works, but in Counter-Strike, you start off with $800, and there's only a limited amount of things you can buy. And winning the first round is really crucial in being ahead in the economy. Because like the first round, you're like either buying pistols or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Or like maybe a defuse kit, but like winning that round is crucial because if you win that round, you can snowball, and because you'll be ahead of the economy, and sometimes they can't even buy like real ass guns until like round 3 or 4.
Okay. Would you say it's similar to how it is in like MOBAs, where like you just snowball directly over the enemy team because you just have built items before them?
Not entirely, because like when you lose rounds, you still gain money, and if you lose rounds in a row, like it scales, and like there's rounds where you're not buying anything, and if you don't die, you get to keep your guns. So like if you're losing but not dying, you don't have to buy again, and you can like buy a gun for someone and stuff like that.
Throw that round so that you can give homie your gun and then just buy another one.
Like if it's at a point where like there's no way you can win, like you just like run away, let the timer run out, you keep your gun, and then like you can buy someone a gun.
Okay.
You like drop the one that you have and buy a new one.
What was the first, have you ever been into any international tournaments? Like you travel out to Europe, you travel out to Japan?
No, I've been trying to, I wanted to go to the mix-up, but that came at a really weird time because I moved in with my girlfriend at the time in a different state, and it was like a couple months after I moved in. And what's it called? I didn't have a job when I moved there. Like I found one right away. But like I found the job, and I was like, it was just too expensive, and like it wasn't even like getting there wouldn't have been that much. It would have like the trip overall, like doing it on poor man style, probably would have been $1,000, which like. If I didn't move states, I probably could have used my tax return money for that. But, like, I decided to do that, which in the end, like, was probably the right decision because that helped me not be a bum anymore. So,
yeah, I gotta make these priorities here.
Yeah, no, like, that whole decision of, like, moving from Atlanta and, like, moving in with my girlfriend at the time, like, that helped me progress to being like probably stuck at Jimmy John's forever and like trying to make a side hustle off of video games, but ultimately spend more money than you put in than you gain.
That's one of the big things about FGC is like you've obviously heard the term like FGC is grassroots, FGC is poverty, right? You see motherfuckers playing Fortnite winning like $5 million first place prizes and shit. And then you see like these, like Sonic Fox wins a Mortal Kombat tournament, he takes home like 30K. It's obviously still like a lot, right? Like if I won 30K in a tournament, I would be like, shit, let's go. But compared to like $1 million Fortnite money and shit.
Even that, like, vast majority of games ain't getting shit here. Like, let's be honest, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know, like, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can be said about that, but I mean, I probably would have been like perpetually stuck in that grind if I wasn't with someone that was like, "Yo, you got to get your shit together. What the fuck?"
Yeah. We all need that one person that just grounds us and is like, "Yo, what's going on here?" I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
no. Yeah, you're right."
Yeah. So I mean, and like that's one thing that I've been able to carry out of that. So
Okay.
that's probably why you don't see me going as hard as I used to, because I'm like getting real life shit in order.
Fair.
But I show up when I do. But like, as far as things going more esports or whatever, or like how like back then, you know,
Mm.
you know, when I first started, like like if a game had like a couple $100 as a pop bonus at a major, like it was a big deal. And first of all, like back then at a major, if like for one game, like if it got like over 100 people in like 2009, that was like a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, like total attendance for majors would be like a couple hundred people, and now it's like single game entrance. If it's not a couple hundred people, it's like debatable dead.
Right.
Like we were getting dead games at like 150 entrants. Like, you know.
It's like when you look at like Tekken's numbers, like Tekken 7 from its release to now. And it's like first Evo release had like 340 people sign up.
Yeah.
And you would look at that now and be like, wow, this game's in terrible shape. Release new content, where's season 5 or whatever people complain about.
And I mean, like, not even that, like Tekken 7 is the only game, I think, in the history of Evo that has grown in entrance year after year, other than Street Fighter 4. But like, because like every year it goes down a little, like a little bit, but like Tekken has had very good player retention.
So I have
very good at bringing in new people.
I have a controversial opinion on this, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because I've talked to people about this before, and I've had hella conflicting answers from people.
Okay.
Where they're either super on one side or super on the other side.
All right.
So my opinion on this is I actually think that Tekken 7, when it comes to its growing popularity, where like every year it gets more and more and more and more popular, I actually think it has a lot less to do with the fact that the game is still actively supported super heavily, and has more to do, not saying that it doesn't matter, but I think it has more to do with the fact that because of the big ass explosion of content creation around the same time that Tekken 7 dropped and released, that there are people that play that game, put content out, that push this shit out of it, and they are responsible for Tekken 7 getting big, right?
Dude, one thing about Tekken, like, I mean, it's really both of those combined, but the one thing about Tekken that from the early days before content creation is they always had very good tutorials. Always had excellent tutorials.
Not this last one.
On YouTube. So, like, I mean, now, I mean, they're there now, but like, not all of them are good. But like, that was one of the only games that they would have like full ass character tutorials for, like, consistently, or it would be like how to deal with this with this character, like how this mechanic works. You know, it would be very easy to find tutorial footage for Tekken. Way easier than any other game. I mean, like, and like that translated very well into the content creation spot, because like a lot of the people that were like making those shitty videos that we were talking about on like Windows Movie Maker with the fucking DBZ music and shit, or like Drowning Pool or whatever, like they became legit video editors and like,
Now they're putting out like high quality shit that's getting
yeah, no,
good
yeah,
views and people are learning from.
like if you look at Man Sweet, who's like one of the most popular Tekken content creators,
Mm-hmm.
he if you look at his old content, like it's kind of just him using a really cheap capture card, uploading some Tekken 5 shit, like, and like it's like over a decade old, but I mean you can say whatever you want about that guy's content. I know like some
It's
people feel
gotten
very strongly about his
now.
content,
Yeah.
but like you can't deny that like the level of production quality that he puts in his videos, and how he knows how to generate views, whether it's through I mean, if you're playing the content creation game, let's be real here. If you ain't playing the clickbait game, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
So like, he's very good at the click game.
Get the hate clicks, get the good clicks, get whatever you fucking can.
He's very good at the clickbait game.
Yeah.
And like I kind of respect the clickbait game hustle because like I know how hard it is to like really understand like.
The mindset, the psychology of people doing that shit.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with it, but when you see it come out, you're like, oh man, that's so fucking clickbaity. What the fuck, man? Like, But like, if you're ever on the side of having to come up with the clickbait, you're just like, oh, what the fuck, man? Like,
oh yeah.
What
can I put in my title? What thumbnail can I put on this?
Sometimes you think you have the golden piece of clickbait, and you get like 5 views.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck.
Shit. My most viewed YouTube video on my channel is an Overwatch video. And I just titled it the #1 Symmetra player you've ever seen.
Yeah, dude,
and it had like 4,000 views.
Damn.
When Overwatch was like new.
I have a YouTube channel that was like me in high school, like talking in front of like a shitty webcam in like 2008 or something. About collecting retro games, and I have this one video of it's literally me with one of those shitty fucking video cameras that take those mini DVDs.
Okay.
Like up to a TV, playing this PS1 game. It's like obscure ass PS1 game, and it has a fuck ton of views because for like a long time that was like one of the only games where there was footage of. Like, that was one of the only like videos of that game that was on the platform, because it was like it was like before the explosion of Let's Plays and shit, because it was like I think it was like 2007 or 2008. It was like literally me just playing like the first battle of it, and like kind of like doing my own commentary over it.
God.
And it had like 5-digit views.
A lot of people genuinely don't realize like how actually legit important it was that like YouTube blow up as hard as it did to have content for fighting games.
Yeah, like I think that going into Soul Calibur 6, people in the community like didn't really understand how big content creation has gotten. And I mean, because like a lot of the people in this like I posted this thing about, before Soul Calibur 6, what were you doing? What was your history? And what I've noticed is like a lot of people in the scene generally stick with Soul Calibur and have played other kinds of games competitively.
Yeah.
Like there's some people that have played others, but I think a lot of people didn't realize how much the scene changed over like since the time that Soul Calibur 5 came out in 6, because while there were still tournaments going on, like for Soul Calibur 5, they were only done at Big E tournaments, and the biggest appeal to Big E tournaments is that they are ran kind of like how they used to be ran. Like it's very old school. It has that more of like a vibe of like I guess like it doesn't have that esports kind of vibe. It's very grassroots, if you will.
Yeah.
It's like done by the guy and his family, and like it's a lot more relaxed.
You're like, I know the dude who's behind the production. He's over there.
Yeah,
like,
no,
you know what I mean? It's not a dude in a suit.
Because like the people that go there, they're really people that are just going there to play games with good people. You know, like they're not really trying to fucking, you know, be Mr. G Fuel and like,
Yeah. Get all Hollywood. Get the sponsorship.
and, you know, do like like one of those cross arm poses like this.
Oh man, the esports pose.
Says as I'm wearing a fucking esports
The
jersey.
esports
by the way.
pose. No, it looks beautiful, John. It
Do
looks
the T
beautiful.
pose. Yeah,
Hell
no,
yeah.
this is actually an old jersey from like a team I used to stream for.
God, hit me with your WUFL on the fucking punching bag they did for SE6, where they're like, yeah, just go punch the bag, the heavy bag.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. That shit was funny.
Jesus, I'm like, what? Why? Why
Yeah,
this?
that shit was funny as fuck, dude. I was mad Signia wasn't there because they had the punching bag. I was so mad Signia wasn't there, bro. Like,
He would have tore that shit up or what?
yeah, no. Like, do you remember during the World Tour how they cut that promotional video for him? Like, and that wasn't the World Tour. It was that WSOU, that thing that he qualified for, that invitational that was like right
Series
before
of East WSO. Fuck, what was it called?
World Series of Esports, I think.
Okay, yeah.
WSOE.
WSOE, okay.
Yeah, no, like yeah, he qualified for that, and like they cut a promotional reel of him, and he was like doing this punching thing.
We
like,
love
during
it.
the interview.
We love
And
it.
like, I don't know, like that was kind of his thing for a little bit, and like he beat somebody at the fucking qualifier for the invitational, and he popped up and started punching, and it was fucking awesome. It was so funny. And that was like his thing for a little bit. So I was so mad that he wasn't invited, because I was like, I would have loved to see that. That would have been like gold.
The funniest. Damn.
That would have been like full circle, you know.
Make memes out of that for years to come.
And Signia's emote is like literally him like holding two fists up like that.
Incredible.
It's fucking great. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's interesting how there seems to be a demand for that, and also a demand for like the shithead stuff. Like, I want to get drunk in a hotel room and play video games and like not give a fuck. And like,
I mean, it's the same type of people for the most part.
You know, it's the same type of people, but like, there's definitely people are there for different reasons now. Because of like what the FGC has expanded to. Because like even now, like I would consider like people watching the stream or like people even contributing to anything remotely related to fighting games, whether it be competitive or not, to be part of the FGC in one way or the other, because their sales of like the casual clowns, like that impacts us in the end. How much support we get, how much continued support we get. You know, some of those motherfuckers might watch a tournament, or you know, those like big fanboys, you know, they might boost up our stream numbers by watching one of us play some ranked, or watching one of those VTubers make a fucking cast or something like that. Like, those things all end of the day help us, you know, no matter how we slice the pie, because like more interest in the game, you know, there can be easily somebody that, you know, just fucking plays casts, watches somebody that, you know, streams them making characters, stumble upon like a Mighty Mook stream or something and be like, damn, this is sick, these motherfuckers are good. And then like, and
then they try to buckle down and like learn the game.
Yeah, and even
like
if they don't
is.
learn the game, if they're watching a stream every day, putting in Match Reno codes, and like fucking sometimes dropping in a fat 20 bomb or something like that, you know? Because like a lot of the people that drop the random like 10 and 20 bombs in these tournaments, like they're not people entering tournaments. You know, like they're people that watch the stream all the fucking time, but they're not usually in the tournament.
And then they're like, hey, I got an extra $10 this week. Fuck it. Blam.
Yeah. Like how many views do you get on a Mighty Mooks? Like anywhere from 50 to like 70 or something like that?
Usually, yeah. Until we enter like finals, and then everyone shows up for winners, losers, and grand.
Yeah,
that's when you
like,
actually get like the 90 and 100, and all those dudes show up as win finals.
We're not getting fucking triple digit numbers in the tournament, but we're getting triple digit numbers during grand finals in the stream, you know? And like that shit's important in the end, because, you know, just overall more interest in people watching your game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that shit doesn't go unnoticed when, you know, there's explosions.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the reason why Tekken has gotten all this support largely has to do with how content creation has played a role in things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it made the
You got
the
Eris's
device-
degenerate ass fucking pumping numbers for the longest time while he was playing it.
Yeah, no, but
season
it
1,
showed
2,
that there was
3.
a demand for continued support.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, all right, we're gonna release these 3 DLC. That's it. Goodbye. Suck our cocks. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what you get is what you get. You know.
Okuba, please. There's a demand still for some continued support over here, baby. Let's get some of that.
Yeah.
Where's where's Algol?
Yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, and I mean, like, if it wasn't for what we established as like during Soul Calibur 6 as the community, we would have never gotten season 2. And honestly, I don't think we would have even had a shot in hell of getting a Soul Calibur 7. And now, like, it's probably eventually gonna happen. You know?
Considering they made Soul Calibur 6 with like $8 and a ham sandwich, it's fucking shocking how actual much support the community gave it.
No, dude, that shit was like a McDonald's wage game.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh boy, they just put Okubo in the back with the fryers and was like, "Yo, man, we need you to pump out anything, and we're expecting you to quit." And he just went bam, bam, and just started cooking it all up.
Like, it's like a really interesting story of like how they made so much with so little.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm sure the return of investment in that game was insane, considering it sold like
2 million physical copies, not even counting digital.
I think if it had the kind of budget that Tekken had, that would have been like a disappointment. But considering it had, like, we don't know the exact fucking budget that the game had, but it was significantly less than, you know, a full budget game, and you know,
than the other Bamco titles like fucking DBFZ or Tekken 7.
Yeah,
especially because DBFZ has the IP of fucking Dragon Ball to fall back on.
That fucking manga cock over there, you know, and they have literal Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
You know?
I got a good question for you then, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the Calibur community itself can do to put our game at a level that's comparable to like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken? Like, because we've always been seen as, like, the niche fighter. Like, even when it comes to, like, the realm of 3D, the realm of 3D has always been, like, kind of dominated by still Tekken or, like, the 3D era of Mortal Kombat games, like Deception and Armageddon and shit like that.
I think that 3D games are, like, whatever is the next 3D game to have a new major release come out is in a very right position to be, you know, in that conversation at the level of Tekken. And a lot of it is the fact that, you know, we didn't have a lot of established, you know, social media figures. And like, as dumb as that sounds, and as much as we hate Twitter and shit like that, influencers have a lot of power. And like, we really don't have any legitimate influencers in Soul Calibur 6, and a lot of people didn't have Twitter accounts until after the game came out. Like, I remember during pre-release, I was convincing everybody, like, make a Twitter, please. Like, this is going to be important. This is how you're going to get. This is how we're going to talk to
each other. This is how we're going to, like, fucking.
It's like, this is how people find out about communities in today's day and age. They don't go to forums anymore.
Yeah.
Forums overall are a ghost town. Like, we're in Facebook groups right now. You see how much of a shit show that is. Like, you know, like, this is literally how people find it right now. And, you know, like, I was the only person that had, like, somewhat of an established small following before Calibur came out. Like, I think I had, like, 1,000 followers or something like that from Injustice.
Okay.
But, like, still, end of the day, like, we don't have anybody that's, like,
a pillar of the community in terms of, like, just having a lot of eyeballs.
We have people in the community that have a lot of eyeballs, but like, it's not their main. Calibur isn't their main shit. Like, of course, like KP brings a lot of eyeballs onto us, but like Calibur's not what he's known for. Of course, I'm glad that he's here, and
Yeah.
I'm really happy that he does his thing in the community and really took the time to get to know a little bit of the lore of the scene and go out and do our games. And he really did his homework. Like he wasn't, you know, like. I think that as a commentator, KP in the NRS side has been amazing at highlighting the history of matches, and he did a really good job. Like, I feel like he prioritized that over learning actual mechanics,
Yeah.
and I think that really played well in there. Like, because he would always, because I remember at top eights, like he would go up to everybody. He's like, "All right, what characters you play? How long have you been playing the series? Any other games you've played? What are some other placings you've had?" And he would like he would like take notes, and like he was very vigilant on that. And I think that he brought a lot of eyes onto the scene, and he brought a lot of eyes onto players in tournaments, and kind of redirected them to their platforms, and kind of made them more interesting. Like, because to be honest, like a lot of us are boring motherfuckers. Like we're good at video games, but like it's hard to be an interesting person. Like let's just be here, like not everyone's a rock star, and
James Chen's doing much the same thing now too. He's got his fucking every Monday he does the what the fuck is it called, SoCal distancing, social distancing, whatever that is.
He's been doing that for a really long time.
Yeah,
I want to say he's been doing that for about a year now,
something like that. I want to say
yeah.
And that's like, we get James Chen with all the, like, he's obviously like a legacy fighting game.
Yeah, like James Chen brings a lot of eyes, and like I would consider him fully initiated into the scene at this point. Like he loves the game. Like every chance that he has to talk about the game, he talks about how much he loves the game and how much fun he has with it.
God, he'd have so much more fun if he wasn't playing Keelik too. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Despite playing Keelik, he talks about how much fun he has with the game.
Yeah.
And shit like that. And not only that, he also fucking what's it called? Gives people a chance to play the game and, experience that. So he's always like, this game is really fun. I'm having fun learning it, even though I'm not very good at it. And every time I play I learn more, and you should try it. And like that's really the people that are going to draw people into the game. So what I would recommend doing is people that try to play the game no matter what their background is, like talk to them, get to know these people, because you never know who has a platform that can bring genuine interest into the series. And even if it's just like a handful of people, like you got something. Like there's somebody in the SoCal distancing street, like Parsec lobbies, that I see every week, no fail, that I've never seen before in my entire life before then.
Yeah.
So there's one person in particular, and like I don't know if he was just someone playing, ranked or whatever, or if like he found out because it's Parsec and you don't need to own the game. He did that. But that's somebody that has interacted with the scene and was made possible through James Chen. Person I'm talking about is Saradeth. I don't know if he was somewhere before. That's how I figured out about him. He's just consistently been there, and like there are people that are brand new to Soul Calibur that are in there, and it's a great way for us to interact with them and play games with them. And like I think that the value of things that aren't like sweating it out.
Yeah, just building the community old style, where you just fucking
like,
just make like a friend with a dude, and he just gets interested. Yeah,
anything that there is that's related to Soul Calibur, we should embrace, I think. It doesn't mean that you have to be a big fan of it or anything, but recognize that a lot of the people that will be finding your content or be finding about you specifically, a lot of those people would be coming from those spaces. So, I'm not saying that you have to know everyone or watch their content. Just be mindful that there's gonna be people coming from there. You might
Yeah.
find it cringy or whatever, but like, whatever.
There
man.
have legit been people that have entered my stream, and like, you know that I play fucking wild ass costumes. I'll play Asta, but he's got a fucking fish head.
Yeah.
Or I'll play like, I don't make a create a soul, but I'll play like a default character. I'll put Mitsu in like a Finn the Human from Adventure Time outfit.
Yeah,
or
but
fucking
like,
do
and
whatever.
like not only that, you got the anime titty going on, you know.
Hell yeah, anime titty. It's a chibi
So-
now, but big titty chibi. We're
Yeah,
doing
it's
all
still
of
anime
it.
to the end of the day, you know. Like, that's all in the same wheelhouse. Know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
And there will be people that'll join my stream because they saw that I had like an outfit that wasn't a default outfit, and they're like, "Oh, this dude makes some outfits. Let's like." It's now become a running joke in my community of like, "Oh, this that dude that makes sick outfits." No one talks about my gameplay. No one talks about like my tutorials where I teach people how to play or nothing. They're just like, "Yo, that's that dude with that clown talkie outfit," and I'm like, "Yeah."
But like you're a good example of someone
Oh,
that's a
shit.
good bridge point because you do things like that. People see your stream and like, oh, like this guy that like the Happy Color, for example, is someone that like his channel is like specifically dedicated to like doing really detailed creative soul bullshit, and it's really
Mhm.
cool what he does. But he also like sometimes plays in tournaments, enters these parsec sessions, watches our streams, and like interacts with us, and like that's the like I would say like, you know, you would have people like him, you know, find your channel because it's like motherfucker is just, you know, wants to see some cool costumes, wants to see some cool bullshit, you know. And then he's like, damn, this guy's actually kind of good at the game. Like, you
Yeah,
know?
that combo was sick.
It's like this guy's talking about the game like he knows what he's talking about. Like, what?
Wait, he said 12 frame? 12
And, like,
frames.
and it's like somebody that knows how to. That's from these like fucking sweaty virgin like competitive players like, that like basement dwell and shit. Like, does cool shit with the game too. They're not all dicks. Like, because the thing is, like, even though we're not like all dicks, like that's the perception of like
A competitive player.
a competitive player to like the
Yeah.
outsider, and like that kind of gives people the idea that like, nah, it ain't really like that. That's just kind of like a stereotype that you get, which I mean, like, yes, there is stuff that like we can get butthurt about, like casual things and how like games are easier, this, that, and the other thing, but like it's like they definitely do play a role into like how the development of these games work that affects us in the long run. But you know,
It's like, fuck it, man. As much as I personally don't like Creative Souls, like, I still make outfits for default roster, and then the Creative Soul dudes that pick the game up for sale and then buy the season passes so that they can make waifus or fucking whatever. That's a season pass sale. And then that fucking season pass sale gets us season 2 because hella people bought season pass 1, and then I'm like, oh yeah, fuck it, you know?
yeah, no, like I don't think that I think that we kind of undervalue the Creative Soul mode as a way of content creation.
Happy Color made a whole fucking website off of it.
Yeah. I was
Soul
talking
Calibur
about
Creations fucking website. It's a whole ass thing. He's got dudes from Japan making sick ass anime fucking replica outfits. He's got dudes from fucking Portugal making OCs with big tits. And doing
and
whatever he's doing.
like some of that stuff is genuinely cool. Like you see like a fucking Char Aznable from Gundam or something like that, and you're like, damn.
You're like, oh
That's
fuck, he did
dope.
that with the triangle. He took the
Yeah.
extra equipment triangle and made a whole ass Gundam.
Yeah, like, you know, or you get fucking all sorts of cool shit, and like there's stuff that's like undeniably cool that like if we just looked at, we'd just be like, okay, sweet, you know.
Yeah.
But like we in the end we don't give a fuck about. But like I don't know. I think that if we intermingled with those people a little bit more, it just casts our net wider.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like overall, like the next game that we get, we're going to see, you know, obviously when a new game comes out, everybody's eyes are on it. Everybody tries new games. Like that's something that's consistent with all games in the FGC. Like everybody's like, oh yeah, man, all these people gonna say they're gonna go hard and gonna drop it. It's like, yeah, sometimes games don't end up how you thought they were gonna be, you know?
Yeah. Like I was mad fucking excited for Strive. and I picked it up and played it, and I'm like, wow, these connections feel godlike, but the actual mechanics of the game, I'm a little like, eh. It's like the game feels a little stagnant right up until I have meter, and then once I start doing Roman cancels and I'm doing sick Nago shit, where I got one counter hit and I'm 90% of your health is gone, then I'm like, damn, I'm having hella fun. But then when I have to play neutral and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna do 2S all day because this is like my only big neutral tool is like a long ass sweep. I'm doing Dawson sweep from fucking SF constantly. You know? What I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, end of the day, like, people like what they like and people don't like what they don't like, and like, and, you know, it takes you like a genuine try at a game to like fully understand if you like it or not. It usually is like a couple of months, maybe a few tournaments, you know.
I didn't think I was gonna like MK9 when I first picked up MK9 because MK was always one of those games where it's like, ah, do the fatality, ooh, it looks gory. And my favorite MK up until that point was Shaolin Monks. Because I just wanted to fucking beat him up, and I got a brutal ass beat him up, and I was like, all right, sick. Yeah. And I picked up MK9, I'm like, all right, let's see what this is about, because MK has always been kind of like the gory, casual kind of game. And then I picked up MK9, I go, wait a minute, wait a minute.
I'm giving a fuck right now and like totally scratching the unscratchable itch.
You do what you gotta do, baby.
Right now.
Damn, you gotta get those fucking Instagram ad fucking humidifier things that just shoot steam in your ear. You ever seen those fucking things?
Yeah, but like whenever I see something advertised on Instagram or like Wish, I like don't expect to actually get it if I order it.
Right.
You know?
Or you have to talk about it and then a fucking ad will pop up on your phone that tells you exactly where it is. You mention Pop-Tarts once and then all your fucking Twitter feed becomes ads about Pop-Tarts and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the thing that you see on fucking Instagram that shoots steam up your ears fucking non-descriptive enough to get away with it.
I'm like, nah, I'm good off that. Yeah. Oh, I did have one last question real quick. What do you think about where Calibur as a series is now, and where would you personally like to see it go in the future, assuming that we get, you know, a Soul Calibur 7, or there are people who want like a fucking Tekken tag but give it for Calibur, like Calibur tag tournament and shit like that. Where would you want to see not only the scene that we have right now for Calibur 6 go, but what would you want to see for like a theoretical future for like the series?
Okay, so I'll start off with the scene for now, because I think that's like a lot easier of a thing to cover. I mean, I just think that we should just play the game when we want to, stream when we want to, you know, ride it out, don't force yourself, just have fun with it. Because I think a lot of the reason why things are so stagnant now is because people have taken things so seriously for so long that like, they are having a hard time getting out of the mindset of it, and that's why we have people like throwing rage clips of like fucking getting hit by something weird in net play when they haven't played in an offline tournament in over 2 years. So like, who gives a fuck, you know?
I got counter hit somehow.
Yeah, and it's like these are things that like who gives a fuck at the end of the day, you know?
I feel like a lot of that had to do with like we kept trying to like, not to interrupt you, but like the Calibur community kept trying to like, I don't know if prove itself is like the right way to phrase that, but we kept trying to like show Bamco like, yeah, we give a fuck, please don't like put Calibur back in the darkness and shit after like the fail of like SE5. So there was a lot of like, not even like real pressure, but like a lot of people wanted to like step up and go like, yo, we care, like we have to show that like the company that like we give a fuck about this IP and that we want like more from this. And we were able to convince them to fucking go from season 1 to season 2 just by us just hosting a fuck ton of events ourselves, or fucking.
We should keep on doing that just as long as we're not forcing it. But I mean, as far as like the whole show and clips and how we want it better, I think that like it initially started off that way, but it's gotten to the point where it's just like people being mad for the sake of being mad over like a match over $0 in like where like it's played online and it was probably kind of laggy, and like 3D hitboxes are really weird anyway.
Yeah.
Like that happens in like almost every game where you see something and be like, "What? That like tracked?"
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, this is a problem that has existed since like 1994 or 5 or whenever Virtua Fighter 1 came out. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I just see it as like you can always make it better, but it's never gonna be perfect. You know.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, as far as like, I think that we need to take things a little less seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that end of the day, we're all here because we love Soul Calibur.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not in a mood for Soul Calibur, then just don't fucking be around and don't bring the mood down for people that are just trying to enjoy Soul Calibur.
Yeah,
Because,
that's
like,
fair.
we all have those moments where we're like, yeah, fuck this game, man. Like, this game can suck my cock. Like, why the fuck did I lose, man? I'm so mad.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, 2 days later, you're like, this is the best fucking game ever. I love Soul Calibur. Like, I'll play this game until the day I die.
Every
Like,
fighting game fan right there. You lose
yeah,
a set like 2-5, and you're like, I'm so fucking trash. This is the worst. And then you fight that same dude like a week later, and you rock his shit, and you're like, I'm a fucking god.
yeah, but
Everyone
that's just
bow below before me.
yeah, that's just like the nature of the beast, though, and like. You have to give yourself healthy breaks because I feel like some people just went so fucking hard this entire time. I don't know if like the fact that we have Matcherino up there and like maybe some motherfuckers are having a hard time getting back to work or like unemployment ain't coming through, so like whether they had to like grind a little bit extra $100 here and there like actually meant a lot.
Uh-huh.
So like maybe that's why some people are going so hard, which like I don't know anybody that personally has had that experience, but
Yeah.
I would not
Could
be
be a
lying.
thing. Yeah.
I would not be lying if I didn't say like the getting like third or like second and third like a couple of times a month 100% help me pay my bills because that would just be like, all right, here's the lights and the gas and all that shit and like.
Mm.
Because I'll get like a couple of seconds and thirds and like maybe get like $60 in the week and that would be like my share of the utilities.
Yeah.
So it was fucking great.
Take third in this tournament, and there's your fucking cell phone bill for the month. Some one of those. Yeah.
It's like I was working 2 shitty jobs, we're like working my ass off for like no fucking pay,
Mm.
and like that shit like meant that like if I won that and like it would be like, all right, like utilities are taken care of. Now like this like extra tip money that I'm getting from my second job, I can like actually buy something for myself.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know, like that shit is stressful, and I'm like, I guarantee you that like if it's that somewhere in the FGC, maybe Calibur, maybe not, guarantee you there's at least one. There's a lot of people in the FGC that turned to content creation and tournaments because they had a hard time finding work.
Yeah.
Like that, and like they needed something to sustain themselves, and like they were like, all right, well, like even if they were getting the unemployment, and like there were people getting it, it's like, oh, I have nothing better to do, I'm getting unemployment, whatever. But there's a lot of motherfuckers that didn't get their unemployment come through, so like they were like, damn, like this is like a way of getting like a quick $100, like,
Yeah.
It's like this is gonna.
I'm already
help, like,
playing it. Let me grind my ass off and fucking
yeah,
make some
I'm
money
like
on
not
it.
doing shit, And like I wouldn't be surprised if there were people that legit relied on shit like that for a little bit,
Mm. But you would say the gist of it would just be like, remember it's a game, have fun. If you need a break, take a break. If you're not happy, don't fucking bring people down.
Like, you need to remember, end of the day, there's still no offline tournaments for it. Like we have our first one this weekend in a million years, and like also like this might be the only one we have for a while too, because it looks like shit's gonna shut down pretty soon. So this might actually be the only one that happens. And even with that being said, there's a lot of people that just ended up not going in the end,
Because of
which
travel being like a concern.
because like, at the time that this was announced, like we thought it was all going to be good. But and then like by the time it actually came up, we're like, oh fuck, it's not actually all good.
Yeah.
So like I don't even know if NEC and CEO are gonna happen or anything that's and like stuff that's announced for next year. Like who knows what the state of the world is gonna be at that point? It's like so up in the air. Like just in the sheer fact that we thought that by now it would be over.
Yeah.
Like back in like fucking March.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like so hard to even say that like when offline is truly gonna come back into full swing. Like yeah, we're having locals right now. A lot of those locals aren't gonna be like nearly as popping anymore because like there's probably gonna be restrictions that are gonna come up. There's already drama about motherfuckers showing up unvaccinated and shit.
Yeah.
And like people, rightfully so, have their feelings about it. Or like somebody tests positive and like there's gonna come a point where like that shit is probably gonna happen, and shit is probably not gonna last very long. It's either gonna get shut down before it's gonna happen or it's going to happen at like different events that like going along, and like they're gonna get pressured to shut down or people would just stop coming to them.
Yeah.
Because they're like we were being exposed to COVID. And I mean, there were places like 404 Esports in Atlanta always had locals, and they actually had a lot of. They were following guidelines. Like, it was capped how many people can get there. Like it was all head-to-head setups and like far away from each other, from what I understand. Everybody had to wear a mask. So
yeah, there's somebody in chat right now saying how we already have reputable players going to international tourneys and they're just unvaxxed.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I think he's talking about Hook Gang God. He's 100% going to get clapped by customs, I'm pretty sure. But, like, the last I checked, vaccinations wasn't required. But that was at a time where, like, the availability of vaccines was a lot different than it is now. And I know for a fact that France is one of the most strict countries when it comes to COVID guidelines. In Europe, it's not as strict as, like, Australia and, like, certain parts of Asia. But in the EU, like he's probably gonna have to quarantine for 2 weeks when he gets there, and quarantine for 2 weeks like before he leaves or some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
The guy who said that goes exactly, John. You nailed it on the head with that guess.
Like the thing is, like he's gonna get clapped, and then he's gonna realize like how loose it is in the U.S.
Yeah.
And like how like. We're just like not taking it seriously at all. He's either gonna realize that, or he's gonna or he's gonna get radicalized even further.
Yeah. All right.
And like I don't know if Hook is just one of those people that just has like general like medical field skepticism, or if he's like an anti-vaxxer like through and through. Or just one of those people like, yeah, you can take it, I don't want to go for it, or like, no, they're trying to make us gay, like,
yeah, they're turning the frogs gay,
and stuff like that. I don't know where he stands with that, but like,
yeah. Over here it's his right, but over there it's like, nah, bro.
Yeah, and we got a question from Kenosiar. What was the highest point of the SC community, SC2 era? The answer to that question entirely depends on who you ask, because most people will say it's whatever game they started like getting into the scene with.
Yeah.
Personally, 6 is my favorite, and I think that the scene is in the healthiest spot it is right now.
Same.
SC2 era, I was probably the peak for casual players because it was the game that introduced guest characters and it like brought in people that normally wouldn't give a fuck about Soul Calibur to play the game.
Yeah, like my parents literally bought that game for me on the GameCube because it had Zelda on the cover, which it wasn't. It was Link, but they were like, look, it's got Zelda. We know who this is.
I got about Soul Calibur 1 is like I bought a used Dreamcast at GameStop when I like in like 2001 or so, and Soul Calibur was one of the games I bought for it. And I think it might have been 2002 because around the time that I got that, I think it was like shortly before I got that Dreamcast, they had that Nintendo Power cover issue with Link on it. Like, yeah, we're gonna be in fucking Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, let me see what Soul Calibur 1's all about.
Jeez.
You know, because like I wanted to play fucking Sonic Adventure and bullshit, and then I was like, no, let's check out what Soul Calibur's all about. You know.
And then you got that sick ass fucking fighting game you didn't even know you wanted because you saw fucking Zelda or Link on a fucking Nintendo
yeah, but it was
cover.
before Soul Calibur 2 came out. You know, but I knew about. I think I knew about Soul Calibur 2 already. I don't know if. Like it's so long ago that I don't remember if I already owned the game and then heard about it, or if it got announced and I went back and bought it. I honestly can't remember because, like, I was like 9 and 10 or some shit like that. Hold on, what do you say here?
Angus, how common do you think offline tournaments would be when people are vaxxed?
Dude, people aren't gonna get fucking vaxxed ever.
It's taken so long, bro.
Yeah.
To get to the numbers we're at now, and people are still arguing about it.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I had a friend who had a kidney stone, and she had to go to the ER, and she literally had to just like go back into a room to do blood work and go back into the waiting room because they didn't have any beds open or any. Like, she probably needed like an IV because she was like healing over in pain from a fucking kidney stone. And she's like, nah, too many motherfuckers with COVID. Like, they might die, and like you're not gonna die, but you're in a lot of pain. No, like, eat shit, like, suck a dick.
Jesus.
All
right. And then part 2 of that last question about the future of SC, what you would want to see.
Really what I would want to see is kind of going in a similar direction as far as like continuing to release games and really drive home the thing of guest characters, because I really truly do believe that those undeniably bring in numbers, and Namco has done an amazing job at bringing in numbers through that. So, like, you know, like Link was the first guest character to really be in a fighting game that wasn't like, oh yeah, we brought this character from another game that we also make. You know, it was like the entirely unrelated franchise, you know, first party franchise, you know, and then like you have Spawn, who like you got all the comic book kids, like, you know.
Yeah, you had Heihachi for the Tekken kids.
Yeah, but like Heihachi was a character that was already an Namco character. Like, there was no red tape there, and there was no licensing going on there. Like, Namco was like really the first fighting game to have to really dip their toes in the license.
SC4 was fucking nuts with Darth Vader, Yoda.
And you know what sucks is that will never happen again because of Disney.
Yeah.
And it just makes me sad.
But you would say what? Guest characters would be a big one?
Yeah, guest characters, definitely. And Dante from DMC almost made SC3. That would have been tight.
Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
But yeah, no, like, always that. Like, I think that's like a very. I think that a lot of people don't realize how many people like probably bought the game because they saw 2B.
Yeah.
Like,
no joke. When the game launched, she was one of the most like fucking made characters. Like, you would go to check out like who made what customs.
Yeah,
and it was just a bunch of bitches making 2B.
And then like she ended up being actually in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like her and Geralt probably brought in a lot of people. Like, well, The Witcher's a very popular series. Like, I personally don't give a shit about The Witcher, but I know a lot of people love that shit. Like, I don't know how many people Halmaru got brought in, but that was just more like iconic, and that's something I always wanted to happen in Soul Calibur. You know, like, I think that was more of like homage to, you know,
the other weapon-based fighter type deal.
And it was a really great way to pay respects. I don't know how many people did that brought in. But like, I don't know, I would have rather that been like, you know, would have rather that not been the only guest character.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of guest characters. But Namco came the right to SC. Which one's SC?
A friend of mine bought the game for Halmaru. Yeah. I mean, and that's
there's certainly
that's a sale.
There's certainly people that did, but like I highly doubt it did the same numbers as Geralt or 2B.
2B. Should have put Artorias in there.
Yeah, what's his? Namco can't get the rights to SE. What's that?
I don't
know
know
what he means.
And it's probably on mobile, so she's probably got to type out like 30 seconds afterwards.
Oh yeah. He left because he didn't understand if he was playing good or bad. Yeah. See, that happens, you know.
Hey, tell that dude to pop into like fucking one of our streams one time. We'll tell him. We'll teach him. Legit, like the Calibur community is one of the most down to earth when it comes to like our streamers and shit. We will just like boom, we'll take time out of his day in an 80-person fucking stream to just show somebody how to fucking block punish something correctly.
Yeah, I think though that you know now that you bring this up, another thing that I think we need to have more like beginner centric content, and I don't think we have anybody that's particularly good at doing that right now or has done it. Like we have very good content, like clips on how to do things out there that like circulate on YouTube, but like that's for the sweat lords like us, you know. That's not for people that like don't even know like how to map their controls, if like, you know.
Yeah,
that's like, if you want to set up and like, you know, and like the controls are different, like they don't know how to set it back, and you have to like show them how to press default, you know.
Here's how to map your buttons.
Like, they don't even know what a button check is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we gotta get on that. It's also one of those things of like the community gets a little weird about it this late, where they're like, we're gonna make beginner content, and the game's been out for like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I've actually legit heard people be like, you want to make beginner content even though the game's fucking 2.5 years old. And I'm like, I mean, this sales all the time, there's new people all the time.
Yeah, no,
like
you
picking the game up.
The thing though is like if you're making like content, you should like just always find opportunities to build up your chops. You know, you kind of gotta look at it like also practicing the game itself. Like creating content is a skill in and of itself, and you know you only get better with that with practice, even if it doesn't do the numbers. Like there's gonna be a time when Soul Calibur 7 comes out that we're gonna need some beginner content right off the jump, and it is going to be fucking great. Yeah. Like, you know, you have all of that experience. It's like we had what's name Scallywag do that beginner guide for Soul Calibur 6, that the one in the UK. I don't know if you know the video that I'm talking about, but he was doing Tekken videos for a couple years before that, and like the production on those videos were great, and like he knew what the fuck he was talking about. He knew the scene, he knew who to ask about shit, you know.
Yeah. I think one of the things that sold Tekken out is even if you're shit at Tekken, it's knowledge that will help in the next one. I think that may help Soul Calibur. Like this shit you learn has been in Soul Calibur forever and will help you into the next one. Yeah, that's a good one. Like just learning basic ass block punishment, basic ass movement, ideas for what your character's flow wants to be.
Yeah, it's like not as much as Tekken where like the game stays very similar and like kind of just like new shit stacked on top. Like whole ass mechanics that are like specific to like every game has a mechanic that's specific to that game itself, you know.
Yeah. SE4 had fucking critical edges and equipment destruction that changed damage values. SE5 had fucking Brave Edge and GI costing meter and fucking
and Just Go
actual
and then, like, supers
for the first time.
Yeah. Like Soul Calibur 2 had the glitches, Soul Calibur 3 had that variable cancel that got taken out of AE, and I mean and like Soul Calibur 3 was also the one that introduced like tech traps and shit like that, I think.
And then SE6 has Soul Charge, Soul Attack, Reversal Edge, Resist.
Yeah, the Soul Charge from the older games is just like non-existent.
Yeah.
And like Soul Calibur 5 didn't even have anything like a Soul Charge.
I think a lot of Soul Calibur stuff carried on for its bases, but yeah, it's changed up a lot every other game.
The only thing though is that like when you try to play Soul Calibur 2 and 3, like those games defense is a lot stronger and like the burden is more on the attacker to open up the defender more so than the defender to not get opened up.
Yeah, which the turtle meta is really powerful in it.
Yeah, and like the thing is, it's like a turtle meta disguised in like a pretty fast game that like still at the end of the day, it ends up being very back and forth, you know?
Mm-hmm. It took me a lot to understand SE6, and I played SE2 and 3 like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you don't approach the games the same. Like I think that 4 and onward are more similar to each other.
John,
Yeah,
you just
like,
put to words why my friend, who's also a SE vet, doesn't like SE6. Yeah.
mm,
2, 3, 4 was defensive in nature. 4 was really
like,
defensive in nature because the speed of that game was fucking glacial.
yeah, and like I haven't played a whole lot of 4.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. You think it's better if more fighting games are casualized instead of? Well, I know where you're going with that question, but I think that developers don't really understand what casual players want.
Yeah, casual
Like,
players don't usually want like a smarter computer to fight.
and like not even that, casual players don't give a fuck about like the deeper mechanics. They just want to do cool shit, you know. So like
that's another reason why Tekken's probably doing so well is like actually picking up the game for 20 minutes and then figuring out a half health combo is like kind of really easy to do.
mm,
Right, Dragon Ball Fighters, you could be a low rank character and your team
Mm.
has a touch of death.
the thing though is like you look at other esports games like Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Overwatch, like they have huge casual fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
And like the esports scene doesn't cannibalize it in any meaningful capacity. Like maybe you'll have a couple of people like, damn man, competitive games ruin everything. Like these damn people thinking that being good at video games is fun. Like, like those people can't be saved anyway. Like,
Yeah.
People are always gonna want to try when they play games regardless,
Yeah.
And probably the people that you are playing against getting smacked in public games are just like slightly above average players.
Mm-hmm. There's a guy. They're the guys that like took it seriously enough to go into training and like look at a move list, versus the dudes that just like picked it up.
It's like they're probably people that didn't have any intentions of being serious or like competing. I think they just want to play online, but like they understand that like there's a process of they care about knowing how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like and then you have people on Counter-Strike or whatever, like you have like those quick play only people, like I'll never go into rank, like rank gives me anxiety, like
Yeah.
and like the fact that like we don't have those kinds of modes in the games for people to just like they just want to play. Like you can go into lobbies, like lobbies kind of suck though, like I think it's a very dated model.
Yeah.
And like Tekken's like one of the really only games that I know off the top of my head that has like a quick play queue.
Uh-huh.
And like these are things that are just like basic features in the game that give casual players something to do that will make them spend more time on your game, more money, and like do not affect the competitive scene whatsoever. Like you can add some shit team battle modes or like some stuff like that, or like how like League of Legends has like I don't know if you play League at all, do you?
I've played Smite, which is like
Okay, well I'll use Smite as an example. You know how like Smite has like Joust and Assault, Arena.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these different modes that like if you give a fuck about playing the game competitively, you will never touch. But they're also the most played. Like Arena is still the most played mode.
Yeah.
Even though like
the Arena's fun as fuck, even though the main mode is like Conquest is like the actual like League of Legends mode.
Yeah. So like you need to have like a mode that's fun and bullshitty and draws people in, or something that like maybe not necessarily a mode, but something that emulates that sort of excitement you get. Like, yeah, I get to do a lot of cool shit. Like, what's up? Like maybe like put like a quick play mode that like allows like a casual mode that allows like simple inputs. Like I remember in CVS2 for GameCube, if you would wiggle the C stick in different directions, it would do different special moves. And like maybe you can have like a mode where like moves like that are enabled, just so like people that want to dick around and like don't really give a fuck can play in that mode. They just like want to do cool shit,
Easy inputs mode or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. It's good to dream.
Because like I don't even know, or like maybe like a puzzle mode or something like that. I don't know, just talking out of my ass, like something that doesn't even use the same traditional gameplay style.
So a stylish mode like MVC3 or Guilty Gear Xrd. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd probably be.
it's like
what
the
you would
director
wanna
for
go
Blaze
for.
Blue and Guilty Gear always try to make new games simplified. Just a miracle how Strive was able to get a strong fan base. Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now that like the reason why Guilty Gear has done so well, I can guarantee you that there's nobody that was like, "Yo, those are 2 frames instead of 1 frame now." I'm in there. I can play Guilty Gear right now, or like,
Yeah.
man, this shit's a little bit easier. Like the combos are a little bit easier now.
Mm.
Word, or you know, or like FRC points, or like have a lot big of a window. I'm in there, baby. It's my time to shine. You know. Like nobody bought the game because of that. Like it was because of the presentation, the lore, the interesting characters, the game overall looking gorgeous. It's the first fighting game from Japan that you can reliably play your friends in without wanting to do harakiri. Because like most people don't even play ranked mode. They just want to play with their friends, you know?
Yeah. Like, no joke, I kind of don't know shit about or give a shit about Guilty Gear or its lore or any of like its history or anything until Strive came out and had rollback netcode that felt crispy as fuck. And I'm like, okay, now I'm in there. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's literally as easy as, what's your franchise been missing this whole time? It's been missing a bonus mode that casuals like, or it's been missing functional online in an environment where we're not able to fucking play
because like
offline.
I think the biggest problem that fighting games have right now is that they aren't being marketed to the lowest common denominator. You know, it's like, what's something we can put in here that everybody can have fun with?
Thick ass X-ray moves.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like
fatalities.
Yeah, simple fatalities. You know how many people just buy Mortal Kombat for fucking bullshit fatalities?
I have friends that buy Mortal Kombat just so they could do fucking Scorpions Get Over Here, an X-ray move and a fatality, and they're like, he chopped his fucking head off. Oh, and they don't know shit about or give a fuck about fighting games in general. But the presentation of NetherRealm, they're like, yeah, I throw this on instead of Mario Kart, and then we fucking do a decapitation. Everyone goes, yeah, and like fucking loves it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, like you need to understand that like the average consumer of video games is that kind of person.
Yeah.
And like most of the changes that they make are really for us in the end of the day.
Yeah. Like the dude that picks the game up so that he could cut Sub-Zero's head off, he doesn't actually care.
He does not
like slide.
It's like the dude
frames.
It's like the dude that picked up Street Fighter V because he likes like Cammy's ass or something like that. He does not give a fuck that there's no chip death in that game. He does not give a fuck that like that fucking
that Zangief is a low tier. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit, or that like like Akuma's cheap, or like fucking any of that stuff. He definitely gives a fuck that the netcode sucks.
Yeah.
Definitely gives a fuck that there's not a lot of things to him to do outside of like play people, you know?
I know a guy who buys MMOs only for their crafting systems, not story or battle. I mean, realistically, there are a lot of fighting games I pick up only for the mechanics and the online. I haven't touched Guilty Gear's story mode at all, and I kind of don't give a fuck. I just want to pick Nagoriyuki and play some sick-ass matches. You know what I mean?
You know, like, we need to remember, end of the day, like, while what we like in the games are, and like the mechanics is very important. End of the day, like, it's not the most important in the grand scheme of things.
Soul Calibur 6 sold a lot because of Creative Souls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, don't distract yourself from that fact. Heroes a nightmare for hardcore T7 players because the dude's basically Samuel L. Jackson with
8 minutes playstyle. He's a dream for casuals.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
but that's the secret strategy is when you release a DLC season pass or a DLC character, you got to make that character busted as shit. So
The
that
thing
people
though,
buy
is,
that
like,
character, then you nerf them after that after
the
fucking
thing
people
though,
buy
it's like
them.
I think that philosophy misses the mark because like I think like I was saying, most of these people who buy these games, they bought Leroy because he's dripped out as fuck, and T-Pain did a cosplay of him. They don't give a fuck that
I
he's cheap.
forgot
Like,
fucking T-Pain did a cosplay of Leroy.
and then he has a
Damn.
dog. It's like that shit. Like it's just awesome
Yeah.
about the character Leroy. Like he's genuinely fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like they don't know like how the like. They don't know that he's like impossible to deal with, and like if the character actually sucked, he'd be like, oh yeah, he can like, ooh, and then like it's a counter and it's cool, man. Like even if that was the most garbage move in the game, like
Yeah.
because I remember in Soul Calibur 5 on Xbox, there's a guy that made a Chuck Norris custom, and he used the Devil Jin style just so he can be Chuck Norris doing a roundhouse kick, and he was like talking on the mic with his friend in the background, because you remember on Xbox, like,
Yeah.
the mics played, It's like, yeah, I love this roundhouse kick, like, this is what people buy the fucking games for, man, like, it's whack by our metrics, but people love that shit. It's fucking stupid as all fuck.
Yeah, and guess what? That dude's sale is the same amount of fucking money as your sale. Like, if I buy the game and I fucking pour a shit zillion hours into trying to get good at the game or make content for the game or whatever, on a piece of paper, my sale is the exact same as that dude that picked it up for $8.
Yeah,
so he could make fucking Creative Souls of his DVDs and shit. It's the same fucking sale.
Yeah, I like the guy that, like, there's people that literally stream, like, CPU cast tournaments,
Yeah.
And, like, people watch that. It's not a lot of viewers, but people watch it,
Oh, man.
But, like, I think that, I really think that fighting game developers don't understand what exactly casuals want. And, I don't know if this whole netcode thing is gonna really make them come full circle, because in the end, the netcode is also something that the competitive players want too.
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants the fucking game to work.
Yeah.
That's what it actually comes down to. It's like, bro, I want to play my friends, and I don't want to have to drive to his house to do it.
Like competitive players, like in Mortal Kombat, do not give a fuck about test your luck. But you know how many people like just rip shots while playing test your luck and shit.
Yeah, that's true. Test your might and fucking smash down on your button so you could break a fucking skull made of crystals or whatever.
Yeah, end of the day, test your might's Mario Party. People are gonna eat that shit up, Yeah, and I'm sure there's people that have like fucking slip out drinking games,
God, it's just Cambosa.
Yeah. No, but I'm sure there's some random motherfucker.
No, yeah, for sure.
That like, lives in like a middle of nowhere ass, like, I don't know, like Alabama or some shit, that's like drinking moonshine with his uncles and like his cousins and shit. And like they're like, if you slip out, you gotta drink. You gotta have one of those moonshine berries, like there's somebody doing that, and like I can tell you right now, there's a lot of more people doing that with Mortal Kombat Test Your Luck than there are people doing that with Slip Out mode.
For sure. Soul Calibur needs a Test Your Luck mode.
No, but like I just think games need more of those like bullshitty fun things. Like if you look at older games, like they're full of that, like Time Attack, fucking arcade mode, dick in a box mode. I don't fucking know. Like there's just random shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, story for MK11 sold the game. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And like the thing is, like, NetherRealm lore is fucking stupid. I don't really give a fuck about it, and it makes no sense. But like the presentation is amazing.
Yeah. They got all that fat Warner Brothers money. You can see someone's eyeballs shoot out of their face in fucking 4K.
Yeah, but like remember like the old quest modes for Soul Calibur 1 and 2 and shit? And
Edge Master mode.
It would be like the floor is slippery or something, and then like even Soul Calibur 2, Soul Calibur 1, there were some missions that were done in a 2D perspective. Like I don't know if you remember those stages.
Fucking barely.
Yeah.
I do remember SC2 just being like, hey, this stage is literally fucking quicksand. Or this stage is blowing you off with wind.
Like you can't see the like people love that shit.
Yeah, the enemy's invisible. It's just Astaroth's axe is just standing there swinging at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like it's all stuff. Like, and the thing though is, before I found out about competitive fighting games, I played through Edge Master mode and like mission mode in Soul Calibur 1, like at least 10 times each. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
like when I was a casual, like that was my favorite,
Yeah.
and that's really where I think that people get sucked in.
Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of time in SC4 playing fucking Tower of Lost Souls, which is basically like a infinite gauntlet type mode, and fucking making outfits. Because the online was what it was, and I wasn't super interested. Like, none of my friends were super interested in playing Calibur with me unless they could play Darth Vader, because that's all they really give a shit about. But, like, you know.
Yeah, you know, like that's really what it comes down to is like, you have to remember like what made you like not everybody can look back to when they were a casual fighting game fan, because I feel like some people entered the scene with the mindset of being competitive, or their definition of what made the game fun was very similar to what makes the game fun to competitive people. But you know, some of us, we weren't always sweat lords, you know.
Yeah. Oh man. Any closing statements, man? Anything you want to shill? Anything you want to get out there as like the last big like takeaway from this?
Last big takeaway, as we mentioned, unvaccinated people, I encourage everyone to get vaccinated, and if you don't want to get vaccinated, please stay the fuck home and wear a mask if you need to leave.
Yeah.
Like,
Be
I know I'm not
considerate.
gonna convince you, but just like, please, just don't be an asshole. Like, there's people out here that are immunocompromised and are vaccinated, but like, would still be pretty fucked if they get COVID, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, they're doing the best they can out here, but like, that's not enough. And, you know,
It's a group effort at the end of the fucking day.
yeah, but, you know, just please kindly fuck off and stay home, you know? You know, OnlyFans is going down, but Fansly's around, so, you know, you can stay pretty occupied there. What else is there? If you want to follow me on Twitch, it's SC Jonnitti. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Jonnitti FGC. If you want to add me on Facebook, suck my cock unless I know you. Don't add me on Facebook. Instagram, Jonnitti. If you want to see me post some records.
There you go.
Make sure to support your local scene wherever you can. I understand that not everybody has locals, but at least get to know the people around you. And also, another message that I want to have is like, intermingle with the rest of the FGC a little bit more and see what people from other games that are in communities adjacent to us are doing as well, because I think that there's some games that are doing a lot of things that we can learn from, and that like a lot of people just aren't paying attention to. And like, I don't know if I just opened up a whole long ass conversation there, but I mean, I can go on all day about that one.
But yeah, if you're a Calibur head and you're strictly just a Calibur head, you know, consider fucking checking out some Tekken shit, some Guilty Gear shit, some Mortal Kombat shit. Just fucking go around, and you might find another game that you fucking enjoy at the same level or comparable level to fucking Calibur, or you might fucking find people over there that are like, yeah, man, I haven't picked up Calibur since Darth Vader was in it. How's it doing? And then you go, hey, it's got 2B, man. And then they fucking go, oh yeah, and then.
And like, even then, you can think like, from the content creation side, you can see what other people do with their games and like the kind of content they make, because there's stuff that other communities come up with other ideas, so they're naturally going to come up with different things. You know, you can see what they're doing, you know, kind of take a little bit of a to get some ideas from them, you know, maybe do some collabs, bounce some ideas off from each other, because in general, on the FGC content creation side, there are a lot of brilliant minds that don't necessarily have the know-how to do everything, and you know, make it really big. Some of them are fortunate enough to have done very well, but there's a lot of people that have great ideas, but their implementation might be a little whack, or like maybe you have great ideas and your implementation's a little whack, like I consider myself, or like all the above. Maybe you want to be a content creator, but you don't know how to not be whack. You can get some ideas from there. I keep been enjoying playing SF5 when I tone back on playing Calibur. Yeah, like you gotta remember, like end of the day when we're playing fighting games, we're having fun here.
Yeah.
And like sometimes playing another fighting game can remind you that like this shit is just fun, We're not trying to jerk each other off and like, because sometimes when you look at fucking social media, it does look like we're just trying to jerk each other off, but end of the day, we're just trying to play games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, fucking thanks for doing this with me. This has actually been enlightening as fuck.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, and anytime you want me around, I'll be more than happy to come through.
Hell
I
yeah.
thought it was pretty cool that we did it kind of unscripted and kind of stream of consciousness, and there's definitely points that we didn't circle back to because
I got distracted.
we were kind of just like going with the flow, but I like this, and I'm interested to see what you do with it.
Oh yeah. We're gonna use these as talking points to fucking just I wanna see what like the community, how they feel. Different people in the community who are either like really ingrained in other communities, like how you talk about, like you came from NRS and had a big NRS scene behind you as you went into Calibur, or talk to someone else who like they're like, yeah, I play the game for the single player and the creative soul content, and like, here, let me tell you what I like about it, or like someone else who's like, yeah, I only care about the competitive, and I want to get like a bunch of, I want to hear like from a bunch of different people in the community that have different thoughts to see where everyone is.
I mean, like that's like because I did that, and like that's why I have a much bigger platform than like most legitimate top players in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's not even like anything I tried to do. I just like kind of just like stuck my head around, and chilled and got to know people,
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't like doing any sort of big clout chase or anything. It was just me like talking to random ass motherfuckers, and those people remember you, and when you, and like it's important that you establish that if you want to take the thing seriously. So people are going to look at the top players and like who the people active in the community are to find out what's going on in the community. Like you don't have to so having a following, even if it's a small one, is somewhat important. Like not everybody has to be an influencer. Like I think I'm at a pretty comfortable point where like what I say, like people will see it, and like I don't have the pressure of like if I say I don't like a game that like everybody else says they don't like the game too, like the whole Sonic Fox thing with Strive, like I'm glad that I don't have that pressure, but I can kind of just like say whatever the fuck I want, and like people like it or people won't, So like it's still end of the day to have that important. But anyway.
Yeah, fucking follow Jonnitti on fucking Twitter at SC Jonnitti.
Yeah, SC
Jonnitti FGC.
Yeah, SC Jonnitti is Twitch. Jonnitti FGC is Twitter. I'll drop links.
There you go. Yeah, drop them shits in the chat. I'll put this up on YouTube and put that in the fucking bio. People can go click on your shit.
Twitter. Hold on, I put a random 0 at the end by accident.
It's all good.
That's the right link.
There we go.
Twitch, I'll get up in a second.
Mm.
And then
Guntanks goes, I love the shoot the shit nature of this. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted it to be, was like laid back. I don't really want to have like a fucking like bullet point list of like, all right, moving on to the next question, moving on to the, nah, it's just fucking talk. You know what I mean? Keep it nice and casual.
Yeah. This is Twitch. And then this is Facebook.
I thought you said don't add you on Facebook unless I know you. Don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit, there you go. Alright, well fucking, once again, man, thanks for coming out, homie.
Alright, yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, everybody say hello to John, say goodbye to John. Go fucking follow him out. Say that you saw him on the stream or the YouTube video
Mighty
or whatever.
conversations.
Yeah.
Conversation was quite mighty.
There you go. That's the fucking in progress name. I don't know what the fuck else to call this.
Yeah, I don't know. I like how it was just like the mighty something.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. Got to be fucking on brand. All right, well, peace out, homie. You have a good fucking rest of your night, man.
Later, man. You too.
Bye-bye. Oh, shit. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, guys. That's going to be it for the stream today. I'm going to chop this bad boy up and fucking put this on YouTube later. But, yeah, big thank you to everybody who fucking popped by. I know this is, like, some weird shit that, like, we're just kind of trying to, like, just kind of experiment with to see if anybody cares, right? It's going to be interesting to try to do some of these interviews with players. I want to see if, you know, we obviously got John, who's John's fucking, you know, he's got all of his opinions coming from someone who has a multiple fighting game background, someone who's come from fucking being in the FGC for a long time and being ingrained in it from a casual standpoint and a fucking competitive standpoint. So it's good getting, I feel like it's really good getting him as a fucking starting point, because now we get to move into people who have like a hyper competitive, like fuck the casual side, or move into people who have like the casual side, like I just want the game for this reason or that reason, I main arcade mode, or like things like that. It'll be interesting to see people's fucking differing opinions, especially when I start putting these on YouTube and people start going like, okay, I watched this one and I agree with this, but then I watched this one, I don't know how I feel about bop bop bop. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I wanna start with a bunch of Calibur heads and then potentially move into some other people, but the Calibur heads is obviously like where like my shit lies, right? I obviously care more about Calibur at this moment than anything else because it's the thing that I'm most interested in. But thank you very much for watching, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a raid onto somebody else that is playing Calibur, so we can keep the Calibur love going. Gotta keep our game thriving. All right, who else we got? Beanie Thuggish. I'm gonna throw y'all over to Beanie Thuggish. Beanie is the shit. Beanie. I have to make sure I spell this correctly. It's interesting. Do you think you'll interview Calibur players from different countries? I would definitely be down to interview Calibur players from different countries if people are interested. The only thing is, like, I don't, you know, if I'm going to talk to someone from, like, Germany, like, I don't speak German. Right? Like, if I'm going to talk to fucking somebody from, like, France or something, like, I'm going to need them to speak English, right? But, like, I'm down. I'm hella down. I'll talk to anybody from fucking any country as long as there's a fucking common tongue we share where we can talk about what we enjoy about our games, talk about the, you know, the same shit that me and Jonnitti were talking about today. You know what I mean? But I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys over to Beanie Thuggish for now. Tell him I said hello. I love the hell out of all you guys. Thank you very much for watching me. Without people like you watching me, I wouldn't fucking continue doing this. Because, you know, you guys give me the fucking energy to continue. Okubo speaks English? Ooh, shit. If I could get Okubo on my ghetto-ass fucking stream, I would get Okubo in here. Spanish episodes? Damn, let me get Okubo to have Spanish over here. Get to hear more about their scene? I would love to hear about the fucking European scene, or hear about the fucking, like, Japanese or, like, Asian scene. That would be tight. If I could get someone like Mai or someone like that, that'd be tight. But, yeah, peace out, y'all. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you later.